Good evening.
David?
My name is David Sudbury, and I'm the president of Community Care Durham. I would like to welcome you to our 46th annual general meeting. Thank you for joining us on Zoom as we decided to hold our AGM virtually again this year. We will begin the meeting with an acknowledgement.
Community Care Durham acknowledges the lands and the people of the Mississauga School Island First Nation. The lands we are situated on are covered under the Williams Treaties and the traditional territory of the Mississauga, a branch of the Great Anishinaabe Nation. We are thankful to be welcomed on these lands in friendship.
Thank you, Leah. I'm pleased to welcome clients and their care partners, volunteers, members of board, staff, friends, and a number of dignitaries, including Giuseppe Ivan Sestini, Legislative Assistant Intern, on behalf of Federal Member of Parliament for Whitby, Ryan Turnbull. Federal Member of Parliament for Ajax, Mark Holland. Sarah Bokhari, Executive Assistant to the Parliamentary Assistant on behalf of Provincial Member of the Legislature, Lauren Coe. Douglas Ellis, Executive Assistant on behalf of the Provincial Parliament, Todd McCarthy, Regional Direct Chair, John Henry, Mayor of Oshawa, Dan Carter, Whitby Councillor Matt Cardell, and Whitby Councillor Nikki Lundquist. Before we get going, there are a few housekeeping items to cover. On behalf of Community Care Durham, I would like to let you know that this AGM is being recorded and will be posted on our website. If you do not wish to have your image included in this recording, please turn off your video. Thank you, everyone, for reviewing the documents ahead of time, including the how to vote on a Zoom poll, which is posted on our website. During the meeting, we will be presenting a number of motions for your consideration, and we will be calling for those in favor and those opposed. A reminder that only CCD board directors, registered clients, and registered volunteers are eligible to vote. When a motion is tabled, a Zoom poll box will appear on your screen. Make your selection by clicking on the circle beside your choice, then click the submit button. Our host will announce the closing of the vote and the outcome. If you have any questions during the meeting, please use the chat feature to communicate with our host. At this time, we are honored to play the national anthem.
David, we're sorry for the technical difficulties with the anthem.
Okay, well, thank you, Leah. Again, I would like to thank all the elected officials who have joined us this evening. Your support, both municipally, provincially, and federally, is so important as we carry out our mission. In preparation for tonight's meeting, we asked our elected officials to provide greetings via video, and we're happy to play those now.
Hello, this is Ryan Turnbull, a Member of Parliament for Whitby, and I'm honored to extend my very best wishes to the team at Community Care Durham in recognition of your 46th annual general meeting. Community Care Durham is an integral part of our community and provides multifaceted support for individuals and their caregivers regarding physical and mental health needs. Whether it's initiatives such as the Community Food Box, accessible transportation, assisted living, or the COPE mental health service, Community Care Durham provides a range of services that cater to the essential needs of people across Durham region. On behalf of my colleagues at the Government of Canada, I commend the incredible accomplishments of CCD and the resilience of the volunteers who help make it all possible. Volunteers are the heart and soul of our community and our community organizations, and the countless hours you've dedicated do not go unnoticed. Thank you for your contributions and for enriching Community Care Durham's mission of supporting people and strengthening community.
As a member of Parliament for Durham, I want to thank Community Care Durham for all that you do in our community. Over 10,000 clients helped with meals, with their physical and mental wellness, with transportation, with a sense of community, which is so important after the years of the pandemic. Your volunteers at Community Care Durham help make our community a better place to live for some of our most vulnerable. So as Member of Parliament, I want to thank you and celebrate Community Care Durham and all of your hundreds of volunteers. As I'm wrapping up this summer, I also want to thank you for being a partner on my initiatives over the last number of years, whether it's recognizing volunteerism, whether it's the mental wellness hub for Durham, whether it's just being champions of the place we live, work, and raise a family. Community Care Durham makes Durham great, and I want to say thank you.
Hi, this is Peter Bethenfall, the MPP for Pickering Uxbridge. I wanted to take this moment to acknowledge all the hard work that your organization has done this past year. Community Care Durham has been at the forefront of providing exceptional care and support services to individuals of all ages, abilities, and backgrounds. Through your unwavering commitment to promoting health, well-being, and independence, your organization has truly become a pillar of strength within the community. Community Care Durham's mission to enhance the quality of life for community members is reflecting in your wide range of programs and services, from providing essential health and home support services to assisting caregivers, promoting mental health, and empowering individuals with disabilities. Your organization has proven to be an invaluable resource for our community. Looking ahead, the future holds both opportunities and challenges, but with the unwavering dedication and collaborative spirit that defines Community Care Durham, I am so confident in your ability to navigate these waters and continue making a positive impact. And together, we can build a stronger, more inclusive, and caring community for all.
Hello everyone, I'm pleased to be here once again to participate in your annual general meeting. Your 46th annual general meeting is a great time to come together to recognize the hard work of another year gone by in service to our great community. I'd like to take the time to thank the staff and the volunteers at Community Care Durham for going above and beyond to ensure that vulnerable residents in Whitby and other parts of the region of Durham are receiving the supports they need when and where they need them. Initiatives like the Food Box Program and Kilometers for CCD work to ensure that people who have needs related to aging, physical or mental health, and those who care for them have tools to maintain their health and wellness. Recently, I joined James Melosh and many of the staff at Community Care Durham to celebrate an Ontario Trillium Foundation grant of over $140,000 to assist in expanding and modernizing delivery of services. Please know that each and every one of you are truly making a difference in so many lives throughout the region of Durham. And I wish you continued success now and in the near future. Thank you so much for all the great work you're doing.
Hi everyone, it's Jennifer French here, the Member of Provincial Parliament for Oshawa, and I am so pleased to welcome everyone to the 46th Annual General Meeting. I want to say that from our office and our staff and from me, I want to say thank you to all of the volunteers and everyone who does such important work across our community. Community Care Durham listens to people, meets them where they are, and helps them to stay where they want to be, which is at home. So we certainly know that that matters to folks in our community, that the work that you do is invaluable, whether it's Meals on Wheels or it's being that friendly connection that folks are so desperate for these days. So I want to thank you for the sincere work that you do and the the unbelievable difference that you have made for 46 years, and we know that you guys are continuing to do such important work. So we say have a great annual meeting and a big thank you. And I hope you have a wonderful meeting.
For more than 46 years, Community Care Durham has helped strengthen our communities through their unwavering dedication to Durham's residents and caregivers. On behalf of Durham Region, I would like to thank you for another year of providing services that support the independence, physical and mental health of our residents. You have made a big impact on the well-being and the quality of life for so many in our communities. Your organization provides invaluable support services that help to enrich the lives of our residents. It is because of your work that they can live safely and independently, and the benefits of independence that you provide are immeasurable. Local nonprofits and community-led organizations are the heart of our region, and each and every day I am inspired by your commitment to our residents. The work that you do for our communities cannot be understated. Thank you for making us Durham proud.
Hi everyone, I'm Whitby Mayor Elizabeth Roy. On behalf of Whitby Council, I'd like to take a moment to recognize the impact that Community Care Durham has in Whitby and across Durham Region. Thanks to the work of Community Care Durham, volunteers, staff, and partners, thousands of people have access to services that support their independence, health, and quality of life. From food security to mental health support, Community Care Durham makes sure clients live safely and independently wherever they call home. The numbers are incredible. More than 154,000 meals delivered in 2021 to 2022, and more than 177 hours of care provided. Thousands of rides given, thousands of people participating in classes and groups. This is truly life-changing work that bridges gaps and makes our community more equitable and inclusive. A place where everyone feels valued. Community Care Durham is a shining example of what it looks like to put caring and compassion into action. Thank you to every single volunteer, staff member, and community partner for all that you do to support this work. You are truly appreciated.
Hi everybody, it's Dan Carter, the mayor for the great city of Oshawa. I'm here to be able to say congratulations. Imagine 46 years delivering services in our community. Community Care Durham is doing incredible work, serving over 10,000 clients on a regular basis throughout our community. I know that it takes a great deal of effort, skill, and ability and giftings. I just want to take this opportunity on behalf of the 188,000 people that call Oshawa home. Thank you for your service, and I look forward, of course, to your 50th anniversary coming up soon.
Hey folks, I'm Adrian Foster. I'm the mayor of the municipality of Clarington, and it is my absolute delight to bring greetings to Community Care Durham's 46th AGM. That is 46 years of providing services to some of the most vulnerable people in our community. And when I say services to the most vulnerable, services that also help their families in so many ways. So Community Care, thank you so much for what you do, both for the administration, because your work is so very valuable, but for the many, many, many volunteers that make this possible. So once again, 46 years, awesome. Thank you for what you do. Know that you are appreciated, and know that you are doing a service that we as a municipality could not.
Thank you. Turning now to our business meeting, I hereby declare that the meeting is properly constituted, and I call the meeting to order. Directors of the board, registered clients, and registered volunteers of Community Care Durham are eligible to make a motion and to vote. A copy of the minutes of the 45th Annual General Meeting of Community Care Durham held on June 28th, 2022 is included in the material posted on our website. We did not receive any questions or concerns regarding these minutes. May I have a motion that the minutes of the meeting held on June 28th, 2022 be approved? Lisa?
It's Lisa McCoy, and I'll move that motion.
Thank you. May I have a seconder? Malvina?
Yes.
Thank you. Please cast your vote on the screen now.
The poll is now closing. The motion has carried.
Thank you. The annual report contains the President and CEO's report for the fiscal year ended March 31st, 2023. I would like to ask James Meloche, CEO of Community Care Durham, to say a few words about some of the highlights in this report. James?
Thank you, David. I also just want to take this time to thank all those who have taken their evening and spent it with us today. So much appreciated. So it's really a pleasure to see so many faces here today. I want to take a few minutes of your time to walk through some of the accomplishments of this year, as well as the challenges that lie ahead. At Community Care Durham, we have 4 strategic priorities, and they always start with the people that we serve, and they continue on with the staff and the volunteers who serve them. We are looking to improve the healthiness and the well-being of Durham, the Durham region, with an eye on the future for our future growth and for our ever-changing community's needs. The first strategic priority is enhancing our quality of life for our clients and their care partners. And through a focus on quality, safety, and innovation, we will enhance our clients' ability to live safely and independently wherever they call home. And let me give you a few examples of that. But first of all, how are we doing? We measure a lot at Community Care Durham, and over the last few years, we ask all of our clients and our caregivers and care partners and our volunteers to ask us, are we making a difference and are we doing a good job? This past year was very encouraging for us. 96% of our clients told us that we are helping them meet their goals and their needs. And another 92% confirmed that we're helping them maintain their independence. And as an organization whose mission that is, I feel that this means that we're on our mission. We're helping people stay at home where they want to be. And one of those programs that we started this past year is the Community Care Resource Nurse. We believe by embedding community nursing into our home care setting, we are proactively addressing some healthcare issues that could lead to a hospital visit. And you'll see here one of our nurses there, Allison. She's providing nursing services in the home across Durham region right now, and we're really excited to see our second one join us very soon. But since we've been doing this program, our initial indication says that we're preventing about 50% of ED visits that otherwise people would have not done anything to manage their health, or would have let it exacerbate and go home. I'll give you an example of that. Recently, we had a resident who had a knee replacement surgery and was in the hospital for 4 days due to a post-op complications. At the end of those 4 days, he was sent home with a catheter, and it was very uncomfortable, and he wasn't really given any directions as to what to do next. After a week of considerable discomfort, he called the Community Care Durham's program for assistance. Our nurse, Allison, met with the client and drew up a care plan and implemented it immediately. The catheter was removed, allowing the client to focus on rehabbing his knee. And without Allison's help, that client would have been forced to return to the hospital unnecessarily, but she helped resolve this issue safely and professionally at home, allowing him to continue with the recovery from his knee surgery. It's these kind of interventions that help clients and prevent those trips to the emergency that help save our limited resources in the healthcare system. As you can see, there's our client testimonial that Allison is a wealth of information, and let me commend Community Care Durham and our department for their outstanding service to our community. Another area that was really the cornerstone of what we do at Community Care Durham is addressing food insecurity and meals. We know, and all of you know, have experienced this yourself, that inflationary pressures have put a burden on all of us in our community, especially those who are most vulnerable. Still, that being said, we delivered 124,000 meals last year. While this year we're seeing demand for our food subsidies growing beyond what we're able to provide through fundraising. So we are absolutely looking to continue our efforts, and we'll come across that in the next little bit. But what does this mean for clients? Well, we had Tom a 94-year-old client who received Meals on Wheels after his wife had passed away for 45 years. Now, it's heartwarming to hear from our clients about the impact that these supports provide them. He didn't know how to cook at home. He felt quite ashamed about that. But now he doesn't have to worry about that thanks to our Meals on Wheels program. Tom receives meals 5 days a week from Community Care Durham. Our Adult Day program is another area of proud accomplishment of our team. During the peak of the pandemic, most organizations shut down their Adult Day programs, while ours was closed for a very limited time before opening up again because our clients really benefited from it. We implemented our safety protocols and were able to gradually bring more and more clients back in person while continuing to have online classes. As a result, at the end of last year, we completely rebounded to reach our full capacity, such that today we're running at 100% capacity prior to, or what we were running at the pandemic. This may not sound like a lot, but this is an exceptional achievement of our Adult Day program staff and our volunteers to achieve that level of support. But what does this mean to clients? Well, I happen to join Colleen here, and you see Colleen, it's not Santa, it's Colleen, dressed up as Santa Claus. And this is a little example of where these differences make a difference. But I joined Colleen and her team at the Pickering ADP last Christmas, where all the participants were receiving gifts from volunteers and others in our community who donated them. One client was so touched by the visit, it brought tears of joy to her eyes, and I have to say it brought tears of joy to my eyes too. The client said she felt like a kid again, and it's been a very long time since Santa came and saw her. She was just so happy with the experience that someone had gotten her a gift. Every day, CCD strives to enrich and bring joy, and I dare say love, to the lives of those people we serve and those that work and volunteer for us. This was just a fine example of how we do that. Our COPE mental health program has been extremely instrumental for those who have been suffering over these past 3 years. We all know that isolation brought about many negative impacts in our community and our clients. But during this past year, COPE has rebounded and opened up more in-person programs and online group sessions. And we increased our capacity by over 10% with the funding that we had in place. How is that making a difference? Well, based on the feedback we received from our COPE clients, we're constantly redesigning our programs, adding new ones. And in this year, we're expanding our services, our programs to younger people. It's another stage of our evolution at Community Care Durham. We still are working very hard to bring back all of our programs and to be at full capacity, but we're seeing tremendous success in areas of exercise and falls prevention, foot care, transportation, lunch and out, and friendly visiting. In our in-home support program, I want to highlight some of the key accomplishments of our assisted living program. We all have seen the news stories of the shortages of healthcare professionals and the gaps in our emergency departments and our long-term care facilities of vacant spots. At Community Care Durham, we have taken pride in supporting our team and supporting our clients. What you're seeing there is a percentage of total hours of care that we missed as a result of not having staff on board. And it never exceeded 3% of our total volume of hours of care any given week. We feel this is an exceptional part because our staff and our team just were absolutely committed to making sure that we were showing up at our client's door when we said we would. Not only did they achieve this number, but we have prevented emergency department visits such that only 17% of our ALS clients have visited the ER within the year, and 63% of those visits came from individuals who are 85 plus years old. We received a 90% satisfaction rating on this program from our clients and care partners. Looking forward, we will continue to enhance the experience of clients and care partners through building on our nursing programming, ensuring more timely access to our services, improving the care coordination and the client services that we offer, and the continued growth in our wellness programs. Moving on to our next priority, investing in our people, we're absolutely committed to becoming an agency of choice for employment and volunteerism in Durham Region's not-for-profit sector. We heard our local government officials talk about volunteers, and we can't go on enough about this. But we simply are not Community Care Durham without our volunteers, our over 900 active volunteers. They are vital to what we do. We have actually, they're so vital, we've created a new position called the Volunteer Coordinator, who will work side by side with our volunteers to support them through training, scheduling, and monitoring. Last year, our volunteers delivered over 60,000 hours of support in all of our programs, such as Meals on Wheels, COPE, Foot Care, Adult Day Program, Friendly Visiting. It's simply an exceptional achievement. And if any of you come by our offices on the days that we're doing our Meals on Wheels and food boxes, it's a real proud moment for me to see the cars lining up and all of our volunteers driving out a blue bag to many, many people across our region. It's simply a huge undertaking. We are working within a changing environment. I want to commend our staff of Community Care Durham, who've gone through a tremendous amount of change this past year, perhaps the most change we've ever seen in this organization. It hasn't been without its challenges, but they have adapted. And I think about the countless hours that they've committed to moving these changes forward. Now, we will continue to support our staff just as we will continue to change, but it would be remiss of me not to acknowledge the heavy work that they took on this year to achieve these goals. That being said, 70% of our staff tell us that they feel emotionally safe and accepted and respected at work. And while this might be good for some organizations, it's not really good enough for us at Community Care Durham. We want to make sure our staff feel emotionally safe at work and are satisfied with the work that they're doing. And we do know that this rating is actually dependent upon people's gender, their age, their racial identification, and if they identify as having a disability. And it's because of that, we started this year to undertake a diversity, equity, and inclusion work. We brought in some external help to help us take a closer look at what we do at Community Care Durham in providing an inclusive and welcoming workspace. We sent out a DEI survey to all our staff and volunteers, because we feel that's the right approach in helping us identify ways to create more equitable and inclusive experiences at CCD. Our vendor, Culture Ally, is working through the data now, and they'll be working with our board of directors and our senior management team in the fall to develop a comprehensive diversity, equity, and inclusion strategy that will address improvement for everyone. Championing healthy communities. Yes, we're 47 years old, and we believe we have the trust of many of our community members, but there's so much more we can do through partnership and other initiatives that advance the health and well-being of individuals in our community. As I already mentioned, with the changing economic times, we are seeing a big challenge on our ability to provide subsidies to our clients. And our fundraising efforts will constantly be challenged in this regard. So we continue to seek ways to support our clients and as many of them as possible. And that fundraising note, food security will continue to be and has been a major focus of our fundraising initiatives through our season of giving that wrapped up in January 2023 and to our Commit to Community campaign, which runs to the end of this June, where we've begun our kilometers for CCD, which will continue to raise funds for our community. We're also modernizing our fundraising and donation systems that will make it easier for people to donate online and attract new donors. We're going to hear a really great presentation tonight from Ben Earl around food security in Durham. I can't wait to hear what Ben has to tell us. And finally, when we think about championing healthy communities, United Nations, Community Care Durham has aligned with United Nations Sustainability Development Goals and in 4 particular targets. One is about improving the good health and well-being of our region, creating decent work and economic growth, and that's why we advocate for our staff to be paid fairly and equitably in the healthcare system. 13 is around climate change, and we're going to have another great speaker tonight, Ian McVeigh, on that topic, and about sustainable and cities and communities, and that speaks to our work that we're looking to do around our community health hub. building for our future. So while we have a fantastic past, we need to constantly be thinking about where, as Wayne Gretzky said, where's the puck going? So that we're well positioned to meet the challenges and opportunities of the future while enhancing the client care experience and joy of work today. And you may have heard through our past year and through some of our, we had MPP Co talk about the work that we've done around the modernization. It really has been the focus of this organization for the last 12 months. Our modernization initiative has redesigned our operations to be more efficient, while at the same time improving the client care experience to all of our services. What has worked in the past was not going to meet the needs of our clients today and the future. We absolutely redrew our business process and flows, added new technology to be scalable for the future, and therefore supporting our staff through training. And let me give you an example of that. Before I do, I want to just admit, this is still a work in progress. Our staff, our clients, and also some of our care partners there's been some frustrations in our system, and I want to admit where those gaps are still in place. We're struggling with our phone system, and so we're implementing a new phone system, hope that will be up and ready this summer or early fall. And we're still waiting with our vendor, AliaCare, to implement a new client information system. And once we're up on that, that'll create huge efficiencies for everyone in the organization. And by that, we'll be able to open up a new family and client care portal so people can have access to us digitally as well as through the phone. But again, speaking about some of the progress we've made, I want to give you an example of the new care coordinator role. And some of you may not know, but I read all of the comments, as does the senior management team, of the surveys that you complete as volunteers and as clients. We pay attention to everything you tell us. And I also review all of the incidents of complaints that we receive from our community, because we're always looking for ways to improve. And what I constantly hear is there someone at Community Care Durham who's quarterbacking my care? I've got many people who I'm dealing with, and would just be one person who's the quarterback would be ideal. And for that reason, we created this role of the care coordinator. And the care coordinator's role is to help guide clients and their care partners through the intake process that will get them all of the services they need through one point of contact. I'll give you the story of Ryan. Ryan was connected to several of our services before we began on this program, and his care coordinator, Nadine, worked with Brian one-on-one to set him up with the following programs: Adult Day Program, Community Resource Nurse, Meals on Wheels, Community Food Box, Transportation, PSW Drives, and Coke Therapy. Nadine also helped Ryan obtain subsidies that would help him with the program costs. He's been through so much this year, and with his health declining, that he's felt the world is crumbling around him. To use Ryan's words, Nadine has been there for me emotionally to help me see that many of these problems can be resolved and things will get better. I don't know how I would have gotten through everything without her help. And that's exactly what we want to hear at the management team and all across the organization, that we're helping people like Ryan and many more like him. To do that, we're also adopting new technology, including modernizing our processes and our GPS tracking system through our transportation vehicles. We simply need to do better in transportation, and that means we need to use our fleet more wisely. And this particular technology will help us provide safe, reliable services and grow these programs so we can provide more drives to people. And finally, I would be remiss, and I won't go into details today, but we are making great progress to begin the process of our capital campaign later this year. And our goal is to raise $3 million to achieve our vision of the Community Health and Wellness Hub here, starting in Whitby and growing across Durham with time. As I railed this last year, we have a daring and aspirational vision for how to revision the physical spaces where we deliver supports to our clients. And you can see how we envision this Whitby Hub in the future from what it is today, as well as the physical spaces of our co-mental health groups, our day program, and our community kitchen. The vision of the Community Health Hubs is to bring our services under one roof, to be a one-stop shop for clients who want to access health and well-being services and for their care partners to receive care partner support. The benefits to our communities through these programs will be to enhance and create new programs that will help residents stay at home safely and independently, to increase the capacity of our mental health and food security programs, to create a social public place for people to connect. And, you know, we all knew through the pandemic, we thought the world was going to become virtual. I think what it did was just reinforce how important it is for us to be connected to our community and to our neighbors as we look and develop our own health and wellness, and to provide support for caregivers and respite for care partners. I've covered a lot tonight, and I want to acknowledge at the end here the work of my amazing team. I work with over 300 staff and 900 volunteers. These are the people that have to put up with me every single day. And I really commend every single one of these team, and they lead their teams. And we want to thank you, and I want to thank the board of directors. And David, I want to personally thank you for your mentorship over these past 3 years. You've been a fantastic friend, ally, and coach. And I don't think I can do my job as well as I have been without your support, David. So I'm going to turn it back to you.
Well, thank you very much, James. I appreciate that. And it's been a real joy for me to work with you. We did not receive any questions or concerns regarding this report. So may I have a motion that the annual report for 2022-2023 be approved? Lori?
Yes, David, I will move that motion.
Thank you, Lori. May I have a seconder?
Jean-Claude Legault, I second the motion.
Thank you. Please cast your vote on the screen now.
The poll is now closing. The motion has carried.
Thank you, Leah. The Board of Directors accepts responsibility for the financial statements of the organization. A summary of the audited financial statements for the fiscal year ended March 31st, 2023 is included on page 8 of the annual report. A copy of the detailed statements, including the auditor's report, is available on the website. We did not receive any questions or concerns regarding this report. May I have a motion that the audited financial statements for the fiscal year ended March 31st, 2023 be approved? Matt?
David, it's Matt Snyder. I move the motion.
Thank you, Matt. May I have a seconder?
Helen Brenner, I second the motion.
Thank you, Helen. Please cast your vote on the screen now.
The poll is now closing. The motion has carried.
Thank you. At this time, I would like to say thank you very much to Dale Tinkham and the staff at Tinkham LLP for all their hard work in doing the audit for us for the second year on CCD's behalf. Thank you. May I now have a motion that Tinkham LLP are hereby appointed as the auditors of the corporation to hold office until the next annual general meeting of the members at such remuneration as may be fixed by the directors of the corporation, the directors being hereby authorized to fix such remuneration. May I have a mover?
I moved motion, Helen. It's Helen Brenner.
Thank you, Helen. May I have a seconder?
It's Lisa McCoy. I'll second that motion.
Thank you. Please cast your vote on the screen now.
The poll is now closing. The motion has carried.
Thank you. Here's where I get long-winded. The Board of Directors for Community Care Durham is committed to executing its strategic plan to further its mission and vision. As a not-for-profit corporation, Community Care Durham is subject to the Ontario Not-for-Profits Corporations Act, or also known as ONCA, which came into force on October 19th, 2021, replacing the Corporations Act, which previously regulated CCD. With a commitment to CCD's governance agenda and to ensure compliance with the ONCA legislation, CCD engaged the services of Fasken LLP to assist with identifying gaps in the articles and bylaws of the corporation, and as such, revising the documents as appropriate. The proposed documents, including bylaw number 2, a summary of changes, and the articles of amendment, were posted to the website for this meeting. We did not receive any questions or concern regarding this report. So on behalf of the Board of Directors, I will now read the text of the resolution of the members of Community Care Durham for this agenda item. Articles of Amendment. Whereas it is in the best interest of the corporation to obtain a certificate of Articles of Amendment to 1, provide for a range of the number of directors of the corporation, and 2, update the special provisions contained in the charter documents of the corporation to comply with the requirements of the Office of the Public Guardian and Trustee. Now therefore be it resolved as a special resolution that 1, the corporation is hereby authorized to submit to the director appointed under Not-for-Profit Corporations Act 2010, Articles of Amendment, the articles, in the form of submitted to the members of the corporation. 2, any 2 officers or directors of the corporation, collectively the authorized signatories, are authorized and directed to execute all such documents and perform such acts as are necessary or desirable to give full force and effect to the foregoing, including, without limitation, the execution and delivery to the Ministry of Public and Business Service delivery of the articles and all other required documents. And 3, the authorized signatories are authorized and directed to make such technical changes in the articles as may be directed by the Minister of Public and Business Service delivery, with no further recourse to the directors or members of the corporation to approve or confirm such changes, and any such amendments made by such persons shall be conclusive evidence of the need to make such amendments and are hereby ratified and approved. Approval of bylaw number 2. Whereas a copy of bylaw number 2, being a new general bylaw, repealing all prior bylaws of the corporation, bylaw number 2 was previously circulated to the members of the corporation. And whereas bylaw number 2 complies with the requirements of the Not-for-Profit Corporation Act 2010, now therefore be it resolved that bylaw number 2 is hereby confirmed. I now ask for a member to make a motion to approve bylaw number 2.
David, Jennifer Cree, I move that motion.
Thank you, Jennifer. May I have a seconder?
Hi, this is Feriel Lund, and I second.
Thank you, Feriel. Please cast your vote on the screen now.
The poll is now closing. The motion has carried.
Thank you. At this time, I would like to especially thank the council at Fasken LLP for their support to the Board of Directors and management with the amendments to CCD's governance documents. At this time, I would normally call on our Chair of the Recruitment and Development Committee, Caitlin Ostropolik. However, in her absence this evening, I will present the slate of incoming directors on her behalf. As per bylaw number 2, the number of directors shall be within the minimum number of 3 and the maximum number of 15 determined by the board from time to time. For the 2023-2024 fiscal year, 13 directors have been nominated to hold office. A profile of the directors to be elected was posted on the website. Here are your nominees for Board of Directors. Helen Brenner, Margaret Osborne, Ferry Olong and David Brazeau, Lori Hagan, Jean-Claude Legault, May Lawers, Antoine Amanier, Caitlin Ostropolik, Malvina Ram, Reno Rondaninon, and Matt Snyder, and myself, David Sudbury. I hereby ask for a motion to approve the slate of candidates as directors to hold office until the next annual general meeting.
Hi, David. It's May Luers. I move the motion.
Thank you. May I have a seconder? Alina?
David, we're having technical difficulties with Alina. We're sorry.
May I have someone else act as a seconder? Lisa, can you second?
Hi, David. Yes, it's Lisa. I can second that motion.
Thank you. Please cast your vote on the screen now.
The poll is closing. The motion has carried.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, your new board of directors for fiscal year 2023-2024. We have 3 directors retiring from the board this year: Alina Papa, Lisa McCoy, and Jennifer Cree. It's my great pleasure to say a few words about these 3 outstanding directors who are stepping down from the board to pursue other endeavors and enjoy a well-deserved retirement. Alina Papa was elected to the board in 2021. She is a CPA charter holder and currently a director at BMO Capital Markets. She has previous experience in financial accounting, taxation, and governance, working for some of the largest investment firms. She is a dedicated mentor to June.
Sorry, ladies and gentlemen, we've just had an interesting technical challenge with David. We're just working on getting him unmuted again.
Sorry about that technical difficulty, but it's not as bad as Petro-Canada. Alina is a dedicated mentor to junior females on the trading floor and is passionate about helping new immigrants reach their full professional potential. Although her work has taken her out of the country, Alina remained actively involved with CCD over the past 2 years, chairing the Finance Audit and Risk Committee electronically. Her experience has been a great asset to the board. Thank you, Alina, for your keen insights and hard work, and we wish you well in all your future endeavors. Lisa McCoy was elected to the board in 2020. During that time, she's held several important positions, including serving as our vice president, as well as sitting on several board committees, including CEO Performance and Evaluation, finance, audit and risk, fund development, and recruitment and development. Lisa, a longtime resident of Durham Region, began her career in the charitable sector nearly 30 years ago. Throughout that time, she has held various senior leadership positions with several prominent nationwide organizations. She became interested in CCD after witnessing the amazing work personal support workers do when her mother-in-law needed help. It inspired her to get involved, and we're so grateful that she did. Thank you, Lisa, for all your support over the last 3 years. Jennifer Cree became a board member in 2007. During her 16 years with CCD, there isn't a lot she hasn't done. She's held practically every board role, including board president, and has served on numerous committees, including the Recruitment and Development Committee and the CEO Performance and Evaluation Committee, and has helped guide CCD through some challenging and interesting times. At the end of the day, the services we provide to our clients take priority. It's always about the clients and what they need, she says. Jennifer can also be counted on to lend a hand. She's delivered Meals on Wheels and loads up her truck each year to help distribute our festive food boxes during the holidays. We're so fortunate to have Jennifer serve on the board for such a long time. Her experience, guidance, and compassion for our clients is unparalleled. Thank you, Jennifer, for all that you've done for CCD. Please join me in congratulating Alina, Lisa, and Jennifer for their many years of service and outstanding commitment to CCD. Before we move on to the remaining agenda items for this evening, let's conclude the business part of the meeting. Can I have a mover for the meeting to be adjourned?
David, Jennifer Cree, I move that motion.
May I have a seconder?
David, it's Helen Brenner. I second the motion.
Thank you, Helen. I declare the 46th Annual General Meeting now to be adjourned. We have two keynote speakers joining us this evening. During the presentations, we ask all meeting participants to jot down your questions or share them in the chat box. Following the completion of the second presentation, we'll hold a Q&A session. I will now ask James to introduce to you our first speaker of the evening.
Thanks, David. I had to take time to unmute. And our two speakers tonight are actually reflective of some of the themes I mentioned earlier around the broader issues that are affecting Durham Region, being food security in our environment. And our first speaker tonight, David, it's my pleasure to introduce Ben Earl, the Chief Executive Officer of the Feed the Need for Durham Region. As a regional food hub for Durham, Feed the Need supports over 60 community food programs. Ben is an accomplished not-for-profit executive, community developer, and researcher with a career defined by community impact and leadership. Ben has led and supported projects in the areas of food and income insecurity, labor market analysis and development, housing and homelessness, and immigration and settlement services. He is currently the president of the Clarington Board of Trade, where he supports the teams as they work to drive economic and business development in the community. In 2017, Ben was recognized by the Ontario Tech Alumni Association with their Philanthropy Award for service to the community. And in 2020, he was named a Paul Harris Fellow by the Rotary Club of Bowmanville in recognition of his leadership of Feed the Need in Durham's community response to the COVID-19 pandemic. In addition to his work at Feed the Need, Ben works nationally with the Basic Income Canada Network, coordinating policy and advocacy work on new approaches to income insecurity in Canada, and with Commonwealth Canada, a new organization seeking new ways to understand and respond to the collective challenges of the 21st century in Canada. He joins us this evening to speak about food insecurity in the Durham region. Welcome, Ben.
Thank you, James. Just a quick, my screen is showing that there's someone waiting in the waiting room, but I'm not the co-host. So I don't know if anyone else sees that. So I don't know. You made me the host when you let me present.
Thank you, Ben. Yes, we've got a duplicate there, but thank you for drawing that to our attention. We
No problem. I
appreciate it.
didn't want someone to be waiting while I was talking. So I'm going to share my presentation. Can everyone see that? Let's go to presentation mode.
We can see it on the screen. Thank you.
Okay, perfect. Okay, I'm going to go through my slides probably quicker than some would like, just given that what's in there. But I do know, and I hope you share the slides with everybody. I am going to focus on what's going on with food security portions. That's where I'll spend the most of my discussion time this evening, and then hopefully have some time for questions when the second presentation is done. So just quickly, give you an idea of who Feed the Need in Durham is. I kind of start with this sort of context of food security and community food distribution. Food banking is very hierarchical. This is not just true in Canada, this is actually true in many countries around the world, where we've got a system where we've got national organizations, in our case it's Food Banks Canada, who then support a group of provincial associations, in our case it's Feed Ontario. Then we act as the regional food hub for Durham region. We are the direct member in Durham of Feed Ontario. And then our member agencies and community food programs are then associate members of those organizations. And this is set up to distribute food. Food is gathered through various ways, some of it through national agreements. For example, there's a Food Banks Canada national agreement with Walmart of Canada, and we collect food at the local level, but that is arranged at the national level, at the corporate level with Walmart. And with Food Banks Canada. Feed Ontario has similar relationships with grocery chains like Metro. They also do a lot of purchasing with the agricultural sector. We purchase through these organizations milk, eggs, meat products. So this sort of triangle is set up to allow us to distribute the highest volume of food possible collectively in our community to avoid duplication, so that we're not all competing for resources. Our role as an organization is to work on behalf of the 65 organizations that James mentioned, to collect food and aggregate it and then distribute it equitably to those members based on their service and the need of the client base. I'll talk a little bit about how we're changing that in a second. Just a quick, I won't go on this. Our purpose as an organization is really to nourish our community. And we believe this in many ways. It starts with food, but it goes to many of the other types of work that we do, the types of things and work that we can do with community care and other organizations around just building a community that is healthy and sustainable, and really supports people, especially the most vulnerable. So this is, and then our values are here. I'm not going to spend too much time on this, but they're actually fairly aligned, I think, with where community care is. And I'll speak to that part a little bit at the end about the alignment between our organizations. So we are the largest food security organization in Durham. There's, most of our member organizations are not food security organizations specifically. They run food security programs within the context of larger organizations like community care. Food security is important, but you are not a food security organization. You have multiple services and try to meet the multiple needs of clients. Our sole function is food security. And the goal of our organization is to support programs across our community that address the food security needs. We distributed over 2 million pounds of food last year to our 65 member networks and through our Market Food Bank, which is our first on-site food bank that we opened in the summer, about a year ago at this point. We do work to support innovation in food security through experiential learning. That our Market Food Bank is an example of that, and some of the things we're doing around mobile food banks for new projects that we're planning will be that as well. We really are trying to create some standards of practice. This actually comes from Food Banks Canada down, where we're building a national set of standards for food banking organizations that will be applied across Canada. Feed the Need in Durham was one of 2 organizations in Ontario that participated in the last 12 months on a pilot of the implementation and development of these standards. So for organizations that do food security work, we're trying to create a common way that we do the work, mostly to, 1, so that we're well run, but 2, to ensure dignity and accessibility for clients. Okay. Again, this is us as sort of our structure overall as who we are as an organization. Food distribution is our primary function. This is warehousing and logistics mostly. When I talk to business people, I tell them we're a logistics organization and a warehousing organization. We just happen to get food to people who need it in our community. So that's really how we talk about ourselves. Within that, we've got organizations that you'd think of as like food banks, traditional food banks. We've got meal programs. We've got school programs that we're increasingly supporting, and we're looking at new ways. We participate in a program called After the Bell through the summer, where we make sure that families who usually would rely on programs through schools have access to food in the summer months. We're growing that program. We can't cover as many families as we'd like at this point, but that's a program that we're growing. And then we've got sort of these types of drop-in programs. These are programs that exist within community and social service organizations where they may have prepackaged food and other items ready for people and clients who approach their organizations for other services, and then these things are available. We're in the process of restructuring our membership, dividing it up into these broader categories that you'll see along the bottom here. I won't go into detail on them because they won't make sense to you at this point. But we'll be publishing more about what we're doing with these programs. And the goal of this is not just to get more food out, but to get more appropriate food to the diversity of programs that are out there, right? So our meal programs don't need the same product that our food bank programs need. And we want to, that's just a good example, but we want to better serve our member agencies. So we're in the process of restructuring our membership categories to do that. And this will be rolled out in the fall. We're spending the summer working with our members to get them organized around this. Okay. So how do we think about food security? Proof is a University of Toronto research unit, and it defines food security really around the idea of the inadequate or insecure access to food due to financial constraints, which is true. Food insecurity is not a food problem. We're a prime example of that. Organizations that we work with, like Second Harvest, are examples of that. There is food in the system that would go to waste if organizations like ours didn't exist to recapture it and repurpose it. And this is not, I don't want anyone to think that we're taking food that is bad. This is food that is good, because of the structure of our food system and our retail food system, it simply does not get out to be sold and would be disposed of otherwise. And a good example I use for this, and maybe it's a facetious example, but every time there's the Olympics, they change the box of Cheerios. They're not allowed to sell the old boxes of Cheerios while they're marketing those. So if they've got warehouses full of product that's going to go bad before the promotion ends, that product would normally be disposed of. They will get it back on the shelf if the promotion ends in time, but if it doesn't, they've got wasted product. Organizations like ours are here to rescue that and bring it to people who need it. I mean, this is a bit, I view this definition as a little bit inadequate because it is about income insecurity, but it's about access to healthy, nutritious food and also appropriate food. Food insecurity is really the result of broader market and global forces of a food system. And again, I don't want to get too complicated on this, but this is how we think of it. It's not just about money. It's also about a retail food system that is really not designed to support food security. And this is kind of the thing that we're all experiencing right now. We can increase and improve income security for people, and all that's going to do is give them a little bit better access to a system that can change on them. And those of us who have good incomes are noticing a struggle right now when we go and purchase food. Those who are most vulnerable are struggling even more. So just simply increasing and focusing on the income or just focusing on the food is not an adequate response. We got to find more complicated responses that actually address the broad range of what people are really facing. And we hear this people maybe don't talk about it in the terms that I do. Coming a bit from an academic background, but we hear these things when we talk to people, that it's not just about income, it's not just about food. There's broader issues going on about access. And this is how we try to think of this problem as a community and as an organization. And I know James and the team, when they do their food security work, they're thinking about it in these broader terms of the complexities that clients face. Food insecurity is just a component of a larger situation for people. Okay. In Durham region, in food insecurity, and 14% of residents approximately are food insecure. And this comes from the Ontario Public Health Survey through the Price of Eating Well report. This number might be a little higher now, but based on the last statistics reported, it was about 14% of residents. This ranges from severe food insecurity all the way to marginal food insecurity. we think of food bank users mostly as that 3% of people who are severely food insecure, right? And that's largely who we serve for the most part. We're seeing more and more people in that second category of moderate food insecurity. We're seeing, and it's not a critical mass, but we're seeing people who have dual incomes and own homes and are now having to reach out to food banks for the first time. They haven't lost income, they haven't lost those things, but food prices and other cost of living increases are putting them into this category of moderate food insecurity. What it means is that they may be able to have a lot of food in the house that may be able to make up enough meals, but it may be not as nutritious as they need. It may not be appropriate to dietary needs and other things like that. So we're starting to see that's always been there. We're starting to actually see more of those individuals reach out for support. And I'm sure this may be a part of the category of people that you serve as well. Okay. We released for the first time our own hunger report. The hunger report is an annual thing that both Food Banks Canada and Feed Ontario do, reporting at the national and provincial level. Other organizations like Daily Bread Food Bank, our colleagues in Toronto and Mississauga, they also produce these reports. We did our own report last year for the first time. I'll go through a few of the stats. This is available online, and we can make sure we share it for anyone who wants to go into the details on it. The period we covered was the fiscal year April 1st, 2021 to March 31st, 2022. We use a database called Link to Feed. Link to Feed is a mandated database for all organizations that are part of the Feed Ontario network. And it's actually about to be mandated by all organizations across Canada through Food Banks Canada. It is simply a tailor-made tool to help us track food bank and food security program use. And it gathers as much information as possible. It is not required for clients to give detailed information when they visit. The main thing we track is the fact that they visited a food bank. We like to get more details because it helps us understand who is attending, but it's not required for access. There's no barrier to access. Just quickly, at that time in that period, we saw a 48% increase in the number of individuals who access food banks. We saw a 50% increase in the number of visits. So we track both individuals and the number of times they visit. There were 135,000 visits to food banks in that year. This number is going to be at least the same in the fiscal year that we just ended. I suspect it might be a little higher, but it'll be at least the same. And 25% of these were first-time food bank users, individuals who had never used a food bank before. So this is the sort of the stark reality of what we're seeing in our network. So this covers sort of, so this is sort of focused on, younger people. 38% of food bank visits were made by children who live in households that are food insecure, so people under the age of 18, and over 800 post-secondary students accessed food banks in our network over this year. So we're seeing this not only families, that number of families has actually the percentage of children in families has remained pretty consistent for several years. It's always hovered between 35 and 40% in Durham, and that's actually fairly consistent nationally in Canada. So we see about 40% of food bank users are families with children under the age of 18, and that's been a fairly consistent statistic for many years. Okay. The reasons that people are giving, rising cost of food has been the number one that we're seeing, housing costs, and then declining wages. Individuals maybe, and this can be either their wages didn't necessarily just go down, or that maybe they're getting less hours, maybe they got a new job with lower wages than before. So individuals are making less money while they're facing higher costs, essentially is what we're seeing. And that's the reasons that they're coming to food banks for support and other food security programs for support. And then meal programs. So these are programs that actually do prepared meals. This would be, organizations like Durham Outlook for the Needy. This would be Meals on Wheels would count if they were part of our network. This is where Meals on Wheels would fit. It was right. They would count the meals that they're prepared meals given to people. That's just an example for a parallel in your organization. These are prepared meals. There were almost 345,000 visits to these programs in that year. This is a lot driven by people who are homeless and street involved, especially at organizations like Backdoor Mission and Durham Outlook for the Needy in Oshawa. They're a large proportion of the visits that are happening around this. And the other big piece to this is shelters. So we serve all the shelters in Durham. We support the in-house prepared meal programs that they have, as well as the hamper programs they have for when people are leaving the shelters. Okay. I've talked a little bit about this already. This is sort of a bit of our vision of where we're going. Our current responses right now very much focus on the inadequate and insecure access to food. Our goal as an organization, and I will share this presentation so you can think about it a little bit more, is to really move more towards a community-driven approach to food security that relies less on emergency food response and more about building community and community development, working with local agriculture, working with local producers, creating policies where we can create food access in urban environments, things like that, getting away from us being a reactive food charity to being a proactive, positive impact in the community. But again, I'm not going to go into too much detail on this. I'll just share it in the slides if anyone's interested. Just quickly, we opened our own food bank this time last year. It's a market grocery store based model. What that means, individuals register in advance, they get a randomized number. They come. We're open on Tuesday evenings from about 3 o'clock till 6, a little bit longer depending on it. People get a randomized number. They come at a time that they're given. Then they get to shop. They get a hamper depending on the size of their family. They're the baskets from a grocery store. They were donated to us by Freshco. They're the baskets you would get at a grocery store. Depending on the size of their family, they get 1 or 2 of those. They can then go through this little space, and it's not that big. They can go through this space and basically pick their own groceries. There's a fridge and a freezer in there. And they pick what they need and they want. This is a model of food banking that is more dignified and accessible. We are testing it. We ran this for the year to test the model and see how it could work. While it has its challenges, it is incredibly efficient. We're seeing, I'll get right to it. Oh, I don't have it here. Well, in the last month, we had about 1,400 visits to this food bank. And to put that in comparison, that makes this food bank one of the largest food banks in Durham region, and it's only operating 16 hours a month. Whereas other food banks that are seeing that many clients are open like 3 or 4 days a week to see that many clients. The model is incredibly efficient because people come in at a time that's designated, they shop and they leave, versus other programs where people line up and there's hampers prepackaged and things like that. So it's a highly efficient model that we're hoping now to scale into other communities. And we're currently in talks with our members in Whitby and the town of Whitby to look at a location in Whitby where we could open a second location of this. The last piece here, I just wanted to talk a little bit very quickly about our alignment between Community Care Durham and Feed the Need in Durham, because one of the big things for us is about how do we align with those doing similar work. Just sort of looking at your strategic pillars, I've sort of lined up where we are in the same place. We very much align with your strategic pillars. We are very focused on clients, and we're a client-centered organization. We want to design programs and services that are client-driven, that are community-driven, that are about dignity and accessibility for clients. And that's where our market model comes in and other things that we're doing around policies. There should be no barriers to a food bank in our network. If you show up at our food bank, we want you to be provided with food, with very few questions asked about that. If people are asking for food, our attitude is they need food. And that's the approach we take to it. We're a people first organization. So internally, it very much aligns with where you invest in our people. We're very much about creating a team that one has the skill sets and the tools we need to do our work, but also who are taken care of, who have well-being, who are fulfilled through their work. And can do their work with all the support they need to do it, because as we know in our world, it can be difficult sometimes. We're committed to leadership and collaboration in our community, believing that we can improve the lives of all those in our community if we work together. We also have a sense of responsibility. As the largest food charity in the community, as a leader of a network of organizations, we believe we have a responsibility to use and share our resources to address and define and address community problems and concerns. And we're committed to innovation in our food security work and looking at new ways of doing food security that are away from reacting to emergencies and about building community. And I kind of equate it to, we want to be less of sort of the emergency food bank that responds to people when they're at their worst time, and be more like organizations, charities that put positive things into the world. And I equate the, arts organizations, sports organizations that are very much about creating a positive experience for people. Not that we don't want to create a positive experience, but we're reacting to something that's negative. We want to be an organization that creates food security at the community level so that people don't need to go to a food bank, but they have other access and other ways to get food. Okay, that's the end of my slides and presentation. I know I talk very fast, so I'm sure there may be some questions. And absolutely the team, James and the team, you can share my slides with anyone who wants them. And if you have more questions, you can always follow up with me.
Thank you very much, Ben, for taking the time to join us tonight and your presentation. I was really struck by the statistics that you presented as it does look, it's very sobering in terms of the trend that we see in a growing and more diverse population in Durham, that the need is expanding, not contracting. I was also struck by your comments about the way the retail system doesn't seem to be coping with the needs that are changing in communities across Durham and indeed across Canada. So a lot of work to be done. And I think the ability to collaborate across organizations, given that we have so much alignment between each other, would be very worthwhile for the future. So thank you again, and I'm sure there'll be questions later tonight. Thank you.
Thank you.
We'll now turn to some awards. We have some lifetime membership awards to present, and we're excited to recognize some amazing individuals who have been supporting Community Care Durham over the past year. In preparation for tonight's meeting, we asked each of our award presenters and recipients to provide their remarks via pre-recorded video. We're happy to share those for each of tonight's awards. Our first set of awards of the evening are the Lifetime Membership Awards. This award recognizes one's contribution over the whole of their volunteer career with Community Care Durham. Our first Lifetime Membership Award is for the Pickering Ajax Community Hub.
It is my pleasure to present the Lifetime Membership Award to Geraldine Gowdy. Geraldine started with CCD as an office volunteer in 1998, and when she realized there was a need for friendly visiting volunteers, she was happy to step into that role. For the past 25 years, Geraldine has had multiple long-standing friendly visiting matches, and she always encourages others to volunteer as well. Geraldine is extremely committed to her clients, considering them to be extended family. Congratulations on receiving this award, Geraldine. On behalf of CCD, we thank you for your generous gift of time and dedication.
I'd like to thank Community Care for the award that you are presenting to me on behalf of a Lifetime Membership Achievement. I started out as working on the phones at Community Care, and then I had the opportunity to join the Friendly Visitors program, which I've been doing now for over 23 years, even though for the first two I was in the office. I enjoy it very much. I meet some wonderful people, and it's a real encouragement for anyone who has not gone into Friendly Visit. I recommend they do, because you really learn a lot. And again, once again, I would like to thank the Community Care Durham for the opportunity to be able to work for you as a volunteer, and also for the wonderful award you have just given to me. Thank you very much.
Congratulations, Geraldine, and thank you very much for your service. Our next award is the Lifetime Membership Award for the Whitby Oshawa Community Hub.
Hello. The Lifetime Achievement Award is presented annually to recognize volunteers whose contribution to Community Care Durham has been outstanding and noteworthy. This year we have nominated John and Joan McDonald from the Oshawa office. John and Joan have been volunteering with Community Care Durham since 2004. For 18 years and counting, John and Joan have volunteered together to deliver Hot Meals on Wheels every Wednesday. Volunteering together allows them to work together, one the driver, the other the runner. Clients especially look forward to seeing them every week and enjoy a chance to chat with them. We are truly appreciative of their unwavering commitment to Community Care Durham and the clients we serve. On behalf of everyone at Community Care Durham, We want to thank you, John and Joan, for your commitment to our clients for over the past 18 years.
Hi, this is John and Joan McDonald. We've been doing Meals on Wheels since 1983. My wife, she started with the church, and we continued to do it after my retirement in 2004, and we've been doing it every week on Wednesdays since then. Meals on Wheels, we are very surprised when we were to receive the 2023 Lifetime Award, and we are very appreciative of Meals on Wheels. We enjoy doing the job, and it's not a job, it's a real pleasure to deliver to our clients, and they are most appreciative too of the meals which we deliver. At this time, we are very honored to receive the award, and thank you very much for the honor, and we will continue to be doing our Meals on Wheels as long as we are physically able. Thank you. Have a great day.
Congratulations, John and Joan. Thank you very much for your many years of service with Meals on Wheels. And our next Lifetime Membership Award is for the Clarington Community Hub.
Fred and Margaret Tippins share a long history of volunteering with Community Care Durham. Margaret began volunteering in 1981 with Meals on Wheels. Her husband Fred joined in 1999, and together they have been delivering hot meals to people living in their community. Over the years, they have supported Community Care Durham in our fundraising efforts, as well as volunteering in some other programs, such as telephone reassurance. I am honored to present the 2023 Lifetime Membership Award to Fred and Margaret and thank them for their many years of service in supporting CCD and the Durham Region community.
Well, Margaret's done this volunteer work a lot longer than I have, and I joined her about 1999, and we are still doing Meals on Wheels, and I've turned over 90 years, so I'm just a young fellow.
Okay, thank you very much for the award. We really appreciate it. I've been doing Meals on Wheels for just over 40 years and enjoy every minute of it. Thank you very much.
Congratulations, Fred and Margaret, and thank you for your many years of service. It's wonderful. Our last Lifetime Achievement Membership Award is for the North Durham Community Hub.
And we would like to present to you the Lifetime Membership Award. We can't thank you enough for all the years of service with Community Care Durham. And your dedication to the foot care program is highly commended. You always go over and above to ensure the clients are cared for and that the clinic runs smoothly. Your generosity and caring personality makes such a difference to all the clients that you come in contact with. Thank you for all that you do. Thank you so much, Anne, for all you do.
Thank you, Jillian and Angie. Unfortunately, our award recipient, Anne, was unable to join us this evening. However, she has shared her remarks in acceptance of her award, which I'd like to share on her behalf. Quote, I was overwhelmed and surprised to receive the Community Care Durham 2023 Lifetime Membership Award. Thank you for the recognition. It means a lot to me. I am humbled and appreciative. It has been satisfying and gratifying working with CCD, especially the staff in Port Perry. They are all a joy to be with. Hopefully our association continues on for many years. Thank you again. Our thanks, Anne, and thank you for your service. Our next award of the night is the Lynn Morrill Memorial Award. Each year, the Lynn Morrill Memorial Award honors a volunteer who has shown outstanding commitment to the COPE mental health program.
The COPE Mental Health Program is honored to present the Lynn Morrill Memorial Award to Mike Cassidy. Mike is caring, reliable, and adaptable, and always willing to help. He extends a natural compassion to others. We value Mike's positive attitude and easygoing nature. He is a true member of our team, and we appreciate the dedication and effort that he continuously extends to our program and our clients. Congratulations, Mike.
Hello, I am Michael Cassidy, facilitator for the COPE Mental Health Program. I would like to thank the COPE staff for nominating me for this award. Also, I would like to acknowledge all of the other facilitators in the COPE program who provide countless hours of work. I am truly humbled to accept this award and take great pride in volunteering with Community Care Durham. Thank you very much.
Congratulations, Mike, on this award. And thank you for all your support to the COPE Mental Health Program. The next award is the Brent Farr Award. This award was established to pay tribute to Brent Farr, the former executive director of Community Care Durham, and his great contribution to our community and its more vulnerable people. Community Care Durham's Board of Directors has approved this award to be available on an annual basis to a deserving student based on merit with a focus on community service.
Hello, this is Brent Farr. In 2017, upon my retirement as Executive Director, the CCD Board of Directors honored me with the establishment of the annual Brent Farr Award. It is my pleasure to announce this year's recipient, Mahmoud Salifou. Mahmoud has demonstrated his commitment to the community through his volunteer efforts, including delivering food boxes and Meals on Wheels for CCD and providing grass cutting and snow shoveling in his community. He has consistently demonstrated his service and caring for older adults. We wish Mahmoud all the best in his educational endeavors at Durham College this year and trust that this financial award will assist him in achieving his career goals. Thank you and have a good evening.
I'm extremely honored to be with you all today. I'm extremely appreciative to Community Care Durham for selecting me as the recipient of the Brent Farr 2023 award. At present, I'm a grade 12 student at Paul Dwyer Catholic School, and in September I'll be attending Durham College for Automotive Technician program. I want to take this opportunity to thank my mom for nominating for me this award and teaching me the value of helping others in the community. Helping others who cannot help themselves is the right thing to do. I find it extremely rewarding to know that I can make a difference in someone's life by just a small gesture of cutting the grass, shoveling the walkway or driveway because they cannot do it, or delivering food boxes or Meals on Wheels. I feel very privileged to receive this support in my post-secondary endeavors. It's amazing to know that there are such organizations as Community Care Durham out there assisting students with their educational pursuits. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for your support as I enter the next chapter of my education.
Congratulations, Mahmoud, on this award, and best of luck in your future studies. May I say at this time how proud the Board of Directors are of all our volunteers and staff. Our next award of the night is the Gail Rickard Memorial Award, which honors the memory of Gail Rickard, who began her journey with CCD in 1977, serving in many executive positions and for 2 terms on the Board of Directors, including the position of Board President. While Gail excelled in her leadership roles at CCD, she easily transferred that passion and energy into frontline volunteering. This award annually recognizes an outstanding community champion for their work with Community Care Durham and their charitable work and positive influence within the local and greater community. Recipients of the award exemplify Community Care Durham's broad social purpose of supporting people and strengthening community.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Cindy Decking, and I'm the volunteer coordinator for Community Care Durham Clarington. It's my pleasure to present the Gail Rickard Memorial Award this evening to Bruce and Jean Gowdy. The Gail Rickard Memorial Award is presented annually to recognize a volunteer, in this case a couple, for their work with Community Care Durham. Their charitable work and positive influence with Clarington is really appreciated. Recipients of this award exemplify Community Care's purpose of supporting people, strengthening community. Bruce has been a volunteer with us for 26 years, and Jean has been a volunteer for 19. Bruce has done Meals on Wheels, transportation, home maintenance, odd jobs, snow shoveling, grass cutting, and even fixing things in the office for us without any compensation, and always a smile and a story or two. Jean's been volunteering with us for 19 years, also doing Meals on Wheels, friendly visiting, telephone reassurance, and has touched the lives of many people with her calls and face-to-face visits with her clients. They still deliver Meals on Wheels together twice a month. We're very fortunate and proud to be able to say that they volunteer with Community Care Durham Clarington. Thank you, Bruce and Jean, for all that you've done, all that you continue to do, and for choosing us.
I've been a volunteer for community care since 2004. Until the pandemic, I was a friendly visitor. I had some great ladies to visit. One was a French lady, an English lady, a lady from Newfoundland, as well as ladies from Ontario. We had great visits and became good friends. I now do Meals on Wheels with Bruce, and it's an honor to receive this award, and I thank you very much.
I was very surprised and honored when we were made aware that we were going to get this award, and I'm very pleased. I've worked for community care for 26 years, and I've done home maintenance for 18 years. I did driving people for appointments for 5 years, and now we're working together doing Meals on Wheels, as Jean said, and I'm met so many nice people over the years that I never would have met otherwise, and had a lot of fun doing different jobs, and as I've said, those different jobs, home maintenance was a bit of everything and a lot of etc. And but again, I'm very thankful that we were chosen for this, and it's an honor, and I'm very pleased. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Bruce and Jean, and congratulations for your many years of service with CCD. The next award of the night is the Corporate Leadership Award. This award was established to reward an exemplary local business that has provided to Community Care Durham either a financial contribution or a donation of time by its employees, either inside or outside their work hours, or a combination of both, or has otherwise distinguished itself in support of Community Care Durham's mission, vision, and/or strategic priorities.
Good evening. I am pleased to announce that this year's recipient of the Corporate Leadership Award is Bowmanville Clinic Pharmacy. Bowmanville Clinic Pharmacy has been a steadfast monthly donor to Community Care Durham for over 8 years, and during that time, their donations have made a significant impact in the community. In addition to their generosity through donations, they have also been incredibly generous with their time. Co-owners Patty Rice and Marlene McCall have been longtime volunteers with our Meals on Wheels program. So congratulations to Patty, Marlene, and the team at Bowmanville Clinic Pharmacy.
Thank you, Melissa. Unfortunately, our award recipients were unable to join us this evening, so we're happy to accept this award on their behalf. Congratulations to Bowmanville Clinic Pharmacy on this award. We thank you for your commitment and continued support of CCD and the region of Durham. And our final award of the evening is the Community Service Recognition Award. This award was established to recognize an exemplary not-for-profit organization that has provided to Community Care Durham either a financial contribution and/or a donation of time by its members, and has otherwise distinguished itself in support of our mission, vision, and strategic priorities.
I'm Lori Houston, the Hub Manager, and it is my pleasure to congratulate the Rotary Club of Whitby
on their nomination for the Community Service Award. In 2020, the Rotary Club of Whitby began volunteering as a group to deliver Meals on Wheels to clients living in Whitby. With a team of 4 dedicated volunteers, the Rotary Club delivers a meal to these clients every week. Coordinator Stephen Cornell works with his team and the staff at Community Care Durham to coordinate the route. The clients are appreciative of the team and look forward to seeing them every week. Thank you.
On behalf of the Rotary Club of Whitby and the Meals on Wheels team, I would like to thank Community Care Durham for acknowledging us with the Community Service Recognition Award for 2023. We enjoy being part of the program, and we strive to arrive on time, deliver the meals hot, and serve the needs of the community. Service above self. Thank you.
Congratulations to the Rotary Club of Whitby on this award. On behalf of the Board of Directors, I would like to extend my sincere gratitude and appreciation for all our award recipients this evening. Without you, Community Care Durham would not be in the position it is today. Please join me in congratulating all our award recipients this evening on their achievements. Our last agenda item for the evening is the second keynote presentation. We invite all participants to jot down their questions during the presentation or share them in the chat box. We'll hold a Q&A at the end. I would now like to ask James to introduce to you our second keynote speaker of the evening.
Thank you, David, and I thanks to everyone for being patient as we get caught up on our time today. It's my pleasure to introduce Ian McVeigh, the Manager of Sustainability for the region of Durham. Ian is responsible for championing climate action both internally through the interdepartmental collaboration, as well as externally with local municipalities, utilities, conservation authorities, academic institutions, and other community partners. Ian holds a Bachelor of Commerce from Concordia University, a Master's in Environmental Studies from York University, and a graduate diploma in local government administration from Western University. And he's held a variety of roles in both the public and private sector working to advancing sustainability transitions. He joins us this evening to speak about climate action in Durham region. Welcome, Ian.
Thanks, James, and really appreciate the invitation to join your AGM this evening. I'm just getting my slides up. James, can you confirm that they are visible?
We can see them.
Great. All right. So as James mentioned, I work as the Manager of Sustainability for Durham region and have the enviable, unenviable task, depending on the day, of really trying to accelerate our progress collectively across the region on the challenge of climate change, and really, I work to try to ensure that the region is well positioned to be successful and a prosperous place to be in the decades to come, decades which will increasingly be shaped by the climate emergency and the imperative to get off of fossil fuels and build more climate resilient communities to things like extreme heat, wildfire risk, food security, to Ben's point, et cetera, et cetera. So a big job, and I get to work with a lot of great people. So just to start, I always like to start with sort of the level setting, making sure we're all on the same page. I mean, maybe this is getting less and less important to sort of, articulate the science of climate as we're actually experiencing the changes before our very eyes. But nonetheless, we need to know climate change is real. The Earth is warming at a rate that's faster than any point in the Earth's history, going back at least 65 million years, a time at which the alligators live north of the Arctic Circle. So climate change is real, it's happening, and it's caused by us, by our activities, largely the combustion of fossil fuels, but also other land use and other activities. It's bad. It's causing extreme weather. It's exacerbating food security issues. Creating health risks such as we're experiencing now with wildfire smoke coming from North Ontario and Quebec. But we can still make a difference. And that's really the effort that the role that I play, working in collaboration with many others across the region to try to make best efforts to reduce our greenhouse gas emissions and ultimately cease greenhouse gas emissions entirely, so that we can have a stable climate for current and future generations. We've done a lot of future climate modeling here in Durham to understand what we need to be preparing for, and this is a bit of a snapshot. Extreme heat, we're looking at more like a doubling or tripling of the number of days above 30 degrees Celsius in the coming decades. That's the type of heat that creates heat health risk for vulnerable members of our communities, the young, the elderly, those with respiratory issues, and as well looking at significant increase in annual precipitation, about 20% overall annually, but a lot of that coming in more short duration, intense rain events, like what we saw a couple hours ago, I guess, as I was trying to bike home or bike to the Whitby GO station. The type that tends to overwhelm our municipal infrastructure, as well as leads to flooded basements. So this is a big issue here in Durham, and that's really the backdrop for why the region has declared a climate emergency, and most, if not all, of the local municipalities have also declared a climate emergency, and several of which have committed to this global race to net zero, namely Ajax and Whitby. And why local governments are doing that is because we're actually really important in this global effort to respond to climate change. We typically think about climate change as a global issue. We like to point fingers at to different countries around who's responsible, but at the end of the day, climate change, the rubber hits the road at the local level, both in terms of the climate impacts that we're experiencing, as well as where the opportunities for action to help address the challenge. So us as municipalities, the region and the local municipalities have direct control over approximately 5% of the emissions that are generated within Durham region. That's through solid waste management, wastewater management, through our buildings, our fleets, our road network, et cetera, et cetera. But we have a much greater influence, indirect albeit, but indirect influence over land use planning, transportation, industry, and other areas that give us some say up control of upwards of 50 to 60% of greenhouse gas emissions in the community. But that really relies on a lot of collaboration, policy development, implementation, work with community leaders like yourselves to help spread the word and build support for the programs and initiatives that we need to be advancing. So that's my job, really, and it's a big one in a place like Durham region, because we're really struggling to move the needle, and that's what this chart shows here, I guess, on the left, is that our emissions are not declining. In fact, while they did decline slightly because of the COVID pandemic, which you see here, the decline between 19 and 2020, as we all stayed home and the roads were a lot emptier, meaning less gasoline burned, that's starting to come back up, and we're expecting in 2022 similarly that trend to continue, that upward movement. So while we know we need to be at net zero, and that itself is going to be a gargantuan task, we have a big challenge. And a lot of that is related to buildings and transportation, how we heat our homes, how we heat our buildings, which is largely natural gas, and how we get around, which is largely burning gasoline in personal vehicles. So when we look at our low carbon pathway, and this is a pathway that's been endorsed by regional council, we do see that the two areas that are most critical for us to focus on are transportation, this sort of light green wedge here, which declines quite dramatically to 2050, as well as the residential building sector, which is largely homes, single family homes, detached, attached, et cetera, et cetera. Those are the two areas that have the most cost-effective emission reduction opportunities, and really speak to these opportunities to build more livable communities, to build communities that are more accessible for transit, for active transportation, to retrofit our homes to be more energy efficient, but also have better indoor air quality during a time when we're going to be dealing with greater air pollution from increased wildfires. homes that are more comfortable to live in. So we're really trying to create a narrative and a strategy that gets beyond the doom and gloom and really starts to speak to broader issues such as affordability, energy poverty, and I know Ben didn't have it on his a list of issues that are driving food insecurity, but certainly when we look at the rising price of gas, the rising price of energy, that's part of the factor at the margins that's helping to drive people into more precarious financial situations. And certainly in a place like Durham, where folks tend to be quite auto dependent, that becomes a big issue. Your lease payment, if you need 2 cars or 3 cars, depending on how many adults you have in your household, your insurance, et cetera, et cetera. So again, building these opportunities for communities that are more energy efficient, that have more, a greater, more efficient transportation network that allow for alternative modes, public transit, active transit, et cetera, that might enable someone to have a, one car family and get rid of that lease payment or that auto car loan is part of the story about how we build more carbon efficient communities, but also more affordable and livable communities that are safer for us to get around as well. So that's the strategy that I'm responsible for implementing. I'm going to speak a bit about how we're going about doing that. A key one is sort of trying to transition our communities to being more transit oriented. So that is trying to build higher order or higher frequency transit systems, such as the Durham Scarborough Bus Rapid Transit system that's being planned to go connect Scarborough Center across to Oshawa, to help, again, bring, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of people within a closer distance to a high frequency transit stop. As well, we have the Lakeshore East GO line extension that's going to bring the Lakeshore line out to Bowmanville with stops in between Oshawa and Bowmanville. We're looking at higher density transit oriented communities across these areas that again enable those modes of transit that don't rely on the automobile and combustion of fossil fuels. Related to that, we're also looking at our own transit fleet. So the Durham Region Transit, we have a zero emissions bus plan, which is great because buses burn diesel. Diesel creates particulate that is particularly bad for air pollution and those with asthma and respiratory issues. So transitioning those diesel buses to electric will help reduce greenhouse gas emissions as well as improve air quality. So again, one of these stories of win-win, and also helped us mitigate cost increases associated with rising fossil fuel prices. We're also looking at active transportation, which I've been alluding to throughout the presentation. We have a regional cycling plan where we're working in collaboration with the local municipalities to help build out the network of separated bike lanes that are, again, safer and more comfortable for those for more vulnerable road users. We're supporting the expansion of or the adoption of e-bikes, e-scooters, and as well looking at developing what we're calling the Durham Meadowway, which, if you haven't heard of this is along the Gatineau electricity transmission corridor. Currently, there's a Toronto Meadowway that ends in the Rouge National Urban Park. We're working with our local municipal partners to see if we can extend that east through to Oshawa. So again, providing more opportunities for active, healthy transit through natural areas that are great for mental health and whatnot. We're doing, we're under no illusions that there's not going to be any automobiles on the road in the future. That's certainly part of the future, and so we need to be thinking about the transition from fossil fuels to electric vehicles. The region has been very active working with our local municipal partners, utilities, educational institutions, Ontario Tech, Durham College, et cetera, to build this network of publicly available EV charging stations. And I'm really pleased to say we've got closing in on almost 200 EV charge points that are being installed across the region. So which is great to see. Just to finish with one key program that I think is perhaps quite relevant for folks here. We've got the Durham Greener Homes program, which is really focused on helping people understand their opportunities to retrofit their own homes to reduce energy save costs, reduce emissions, and have healthier indoor air quality. So if you haven't heard of this program, I encourage you to check out www.durhamgreenerhomes.ca, where we've got a free home energy coach that can help demystify and simplify the process of getting a home energy renovation done. It's quite, as anyone who's tried it, it can be quite complicated. There's lots of different incentive programs and sometimes new technologies like heat pumps that are quite efficient, but new and need some explaining. We've also got lots of incentives available for Durham region residents to help ease the upfront cost barrier. So that's really what this program is about. We're really trying to center the homeowner and enable them to take action through the support of the energy coach, help them secure contractor quotes and get good costing information, help navigate incentive programs, and if they need it, secure financing. So lots on the go with respect to climate action, but certainly lots more needed. Again, given the numbers and the trajectory that we're on. So really interested if there's any reflections from the group here on where this has resonated with you, and either personally or with respect to your organization, and how we might be able to work together to build the movement on this front. So I'll stop there, and thanks again for your time. Thank you very much, Ian. It's obviously the statistics that you provided at the beginning, very similar to the food insecurity issue. Is the trend in terms of climate is getting worse, not better, and the initiatives that are being articulated tonight in terms of responding to climate change with the initiatives that are underway are encouraging. And it's I guess you identified two key areas of transportation and residential as priorities, and it'll be very interesting to see how that progresses over time as the communities themselves and the amount of housing in Durham is growing, right? So I'll at this time I would just open the floor for questions for our two keynote speakers, both Ben and Ian. And we invite you to raise your hand or share your question in the chat box. And I will ask the host to monitor the questions as they come in and invite our participants to unmute themselves as directed. Back to you, Leah. Are there any questions for our presenters?
Hi, David, we do have one person who has their hand up. We will be unmuting Myrna so that she can ask the question. There was one question in the chat earlier. And it was actually more directed towards Community Care Durham and our Meals on Wheels program, and James did respond to that. So we're just working to have Myrna unmute.
What we're doing that, I'd like to just ask both our presenters, what can we do at Community Care Durham to help the work that you're doing? Is there anything in particular that comes to mind where we can assist you in your efforts? Maybe start with Ian. Sure. I mean, I think helping to spread the word about Durham Greener Homes would be great. I think there's probably a lot of seniors aging in place that are within your network that would benefit from the types of renovations that we're talking about, where we're able to provide, efficient cooling, for example, that's going to be helpful for these extreme heat events that we're increasingly experiencing. And there's lots of incentives and rebates available. So I think that's a key one. Taking action on the home front is really important, because that's where a lot of the greenhouse gas emissions that are emitted in the region are happening. It's really through your furnace or your boiler. So that would be one thing, helping us spread the word. And I think there's an interesting connection with aging in place
that relates to energy affordability as well, because we're certainly going to be seeing continually rising energy prices in the future. And so it's going to be critical for us to have more efficient homes that are using less energy.
Thank you. Thank you. And Ben, how about you?
I think just one, consider us part of your network and your toolkit. The work that you do does allow you to interact, especially with seniors and other vulnerable populations who are at home. I will note, we don't see a critical mass of seniors coming to food banks in our community. Other communities are very different, especially some of the cities in Canada. We often get questions about seniors and food insecurity, and we don't have good data on it because we don't see them in our network. So helping us understand what's going on with seniors, and then helping us understand how we can help. I think that's a key piece. So just keep us in mind that we're part of the network, and help us understand in what ways we can especially support seniors and other vulnerable communities that we may not see.
Okay, thank you. Thank you both. Leah, do we have that question now?
We do. Myra, go right ahead.
Yes, I just wanted to firstly thank everyone for presenting today, and like having us all here is very great to spend all this time with you. I actually have a question for Ian. I have two questions. I believe the large market of Durham region would be in the rental market, maybe not so much in the housing market, at least with accessing the food programs. So maybe something we could do as renters to be able to make our houses more efficient, like energy efficient, as well as if there's anything going to be modifications for accessible transit, because it's really hard to access the transit services when you think you're in a wheelchair, and some of us have service dogs and like whatnot. So I just kind of wanted to know your opinion on that.
Sure. Yeah. Thank you, Myra, for the questions. When we look at the housing stock in Durham, it is overwhelmingly, owner occupied. And so the Durham Greener Homes program is sort of, focused on sort of home ownership, but we aren't oblivious, certainly, to the need for us to support energy renovations within the rental market, and particularly the social affordable housing market. So we are working in close cooperation with our housing division that has the connections to the co-ops and the nonprofits that operate within the region, and working to support them in undertaking energy renovations themselves. So that is an active area of interest for me and for the regions, certainly. We also have our own housing stock, our own affordable housing stock, about 1,200 units across the region that we are actively developing and implementing plans to make them more energy efficient and sustainable. On your point about accessibility with Durham Region Transit, I will take that back to my colleagues at the Transit Authority. I'm sure that that's something that they're potentially aware of, but yeah, that isn't what I work on directly, so I can't speak to it specifically.
Thank you. If there's no further questions, that wraps up our agenda for the evening. I want to thank everyone for attending CCD's 46th Annual General Meeting. Your support of Community Care Durham is greatly appreciated. I am so proud of Community Care Durham and all of our volunteers, staff, partners, and community supporters. On behalf of your board of directors, I want to express how excited we are about the future, and we appreciate all your support. Thank you, everyone, and good night.
Thank you very much, everyone. And for the directors of the board, we will see you in your next meeting when you sign it. Have a good evening, everyone.
Take care. Thanks again.